Welcome to episode 93 of the OVW podcast, the unofficial podcast of Ohio Valley Wrestling. My name is Jack Minogues.
I am the Lizard King, and I can do anything. I go by Behinds. How are you?
Rest in power, Val Kilmer.
Amen.
Today we're getting into all the action from the night of Fatal 4-Ways. That was, of course, OVW Television 1337, and we'll be covering OVW March Mayhem 2025. Those were both at legendary Hot Point Davis Arena, recorded and emanating live, broadcast live from Hot Point Davis Arena on the 27th of March and the 29th of March, respectfully. But first, Brian Hines, we've been lucky the last few weeks. We've been picking up some primo interviews.
No doubt about that.
We had one that dropped this past Monday. If you guys haven't checked it out yet, definitely go find our interview with Leo Fox.
Oh, my God, that was so much fun. It was so easy to talk to him, and it went so smooth. And even after it was over, we still ended up continuing that conversation for like a good hour after that. What a great guy. Really
a lot of fun to have Leo stick around. And in the conversation off mic, we learned that I learned a lot about Saturday Night Live history.
Yeah, I had no idea he was that well versed in it, and we were right there neck and neck as far as that goes.
We get into a little bit of that in the interview that went out to air, but not really much. We learned
a lot about MTV.
We did learn about his obsession with MTV.
90s MTV.
We learned a lot about him in general, a lot about his life and the life that he's lived, and kind of what a little bit of what makes him tick, if I could be so bold.
Yeah.
So that was a lot of fun. If you haven't heard that interview yet, please go check it out. It's not only in audio format, wherever you find your podcast, but here on YouTube as well. And then yesterday, we sat down with Cash Daniel.
Yep.
Who is...
Cash with a K for Kentucky.
He is... not familiar maybe to the wider OVW fan base yet, but in the state of Kentucky, I would say that a large majority of Kentuckians know who Cash Daniel is. Was a sentimental favorite, one of the largest sentimental favorites of all time in UK football, and is making his OVW debut at Appalachian Wireless Arena.
Yeah, if you don't know who he is, you're about to find out.
And speaking of, much like Leo Fox, just guys that were easy to talk to, like... What you think Cash Daniel is exactly what he is, man. Like,
yeah,
he's a very, very genuine guy. Heck of a handshake. But we kind of delve into less of his time at UK, but more what's led him to wrestling at this point, and loved being able to sit down with him I was watching a ton of UK football when he was playing.
Yeah,
I had to excuse myself from UK sports the last few years, but when he was playing, it really was like the best of times, and he was a huge part of that. So for me,
he was there when we beat Florida.
He was there when we beat Florida, but a couple of times when we beat Florida. But the big one, the first one in several
most
decades.
of my lifetime.
But it was, it was a lot of fun as a wrestling fan, and also like as a UK fan. Like, you're sitting down with Cash Daniel, man. It's cool.
Yeah.
It's cool as hell. So let's and that will be out on Monday. Monday's the new interview day. So look forward to that. Let's talk about, we've got a whole new list.
It has been a busy weekend.
This was literally 20 minutes of my life, making sure all this was right and listing them all out for you.
Yeah, we've got a whole new list of additional dates for the OVW Summer Tour.
Hopefully, wow, we sure do, don't we?
Hopefully they will be coming to a city in or around you soon. Brian Hines, let's tell them where we can find the OVW Superstars.
All right. First and foremost, right off the top, you can catch them every Thursday at OVW Hot Point Davis Arena for OVW Rise. It's starting at 6:30. OVW Appalachian Armageddon, Pikeville, Kentucky, is part of the legendary Hillbilly Days Festival, and that is Friday, April 25th. OVW Shamrock Slam, I want to make sure I said that right. St. Martha Parish in Louisville, Friday, May 16th. OVW Rumble at the Raceway Series, Ponderosa Speedway, Junction City, Kentucky, Saturday, May 17th, 2025, June 21st, 2025, and July 19th, 2025. Am I hearing that right? They're doing 3 dates?
Yeah, I've been in. If their Facebook upcoming events tab is to be believed, yes.
Wow.
And they also changed their name from Ohio Valley Wrestling to OVW Wrestling on Facebook. I'm still deciding how I feel about it.
Yeah. Are you sure it's not an April Fool's Day joke?
It's still there today. I looked at it 25 minutes ago to get those tour dates for you.
Interesting. Anyway, moving on.
That's my neck of the woods, by the way.
Junction City?
Oh, yeah.
Jinx, you owe me a Coke.
You have one.
My first girlfriend in 8th grade was from Junction City.
So tell us about the raceway then.
Lord, no. You think I've ever been over to the Junction City Raceway?
Well, they're going to be there 3 times this summer.
Here's what I know about the Junction City Raceway. So if you're, in general, if you're from the county, Junction City is our butt crack, right? Junction City it gets a lot of the jokes, right?
It's not the county seat?
It is not. That would be Danville. It's adjacent to the county seat.
Wait, if it was the county butt crack, wouldn't that make it the county seat?
Different meaning of the word seat.
I see. Okay,
but
carry on.
It was very much, like where I wasn't supposed to be at. Like there was nothing for me in Junction City. What I do know about the raceway is that like they let, or at least when I was growing up, they let like teenagers do races out there on like go-karts.
Oh, cool.
This is like my one thing that I know about the raceway.
Now we have a fact.
Yeah. So it should be fun though, man. Like Junction City's changed a lot. Like when that area went wet, when my area went wet and got all of the money that comes along with it, Junction City was probably the biggest beneficiary of that. So Junction City's a little different than it was when I was growing up, but I'm looking forward to getting back there and seeing all the changes.
I feel like we got to go to at least one of these. They do these 3 over the course of the summer.
Well, I would hope so.
But
it would be better if we could at least make it to 2, because according to Meatloaf, 2 out of 3 ain't bad.
There it is.
That's true.
Yep.
What else is on the list?
We've got OVW Saturday Night Special, Hot Point Davis Arena, June 14th, 2025. There's a free all-ages show at Element Eatery in Cincinnati, Ohio on June 28th. Manchester Music Hall in Lexington, Kentucky on July 5th. That is going to be off the top rope. And OVW Independence Rage, Hot Point Davis Arena, July 26th. Get tickets to any and all of these events at OVWTix.com.
And we will be back right after this.
Hey, folks. Tiny Brian here with you once again. Not the producer of the OVW podcast, but your host for Bluegrass Homefront podcast. Season 3 is now coming out. It will be out 1 week from today, the next episode, on Wednesday. Our guests will include Hannah Mae Rector, who is a local Kentucky musician, and she and a fellow musician talk to Victor and I, and then they play us some music. So you're not going to want to miss it. We're going to have some other stuff going on. That is next week. Bluegrass Homefront and bluegrasshomefront.com. Check them out. See them wherever you get your podcasts, and a YouTube channel probably coming very soon. That's all for now. Thanks so much for everybody listening. We do see people listening. I know that a lot of that is here in the OVW Fan Nation, and we are so thankful for that. More to come. BluegrassHomefront.com, and now back to the OVW podcast, already in progress.
All right, Brian Hines. So let's do a little bit of housekeeping beyond the usual amount of housekeeping that we do. We're going to try to cover this one a little different.
Yes.
Since we missed our coverage of the Fatal 4-Way, kind of timing-wise, just didn't really work out for us, and we want to make sure that we mention the Fatal 4-Way because there is such huge implications for the pay-per-view that we're going to be covering.
Yes.
on a larger scale. That we are going to take like just a couple of seconds at the beginning of every one of these March Mayhem matches to talk about how we got there during the Fatal 4.
Once we get into the actual championship matches, I think there are 3 matches that are just set-up matches before we actually get to the championship matches.
I think and really the biggest thing to remember just in general is that Omar got attacked.
Yes, that was the biggest takeaway from Thursday night's
as far
Rise.
as stuff that didn't happen in a wrestling ring. Omar got attacked, and we learned that they have to vacate the titles. But we'll get into all of that.
We actually have a video of the announcement of that. If y'all want to hear that,
let's go ahead and see that. Actually,
all right. If I can remember how to operate my machinery. There we go.
Ladies and gentlemen, first, let me announce that Beaches and Cream have been stripped of the OVW Tag Team Championship because Omar Amir is unable to compete tonight. Therefore, later on tonight, the number 1 and number 2 contenders will compete for now the vacant OVW Championship. Ladies and gentlemen.
So, right off the bat, I hate to see Beaches and Cream's most recent tag team championship run come to an end like this.
Anybody does. Nobody wants to lose it like that.
And like, how much of it is maybe storyline stuff? How much of it isn't? We don't know. But you hate to see. Usually, if Omar is ready, he's there.
Yeah.
And
he's been on a tear lately.
And he's been really giving it his all, just like on a tear, to borrow your phrasing. And so I really do hate to see their tag team championship run kind of fizzle out like this. But I'm sure that once they're reunited as a team, Omar is 100% healthy, they're right back in the conversation.
Oh, no doubt about that. When we were watching that announcement, as we'd already seen it since we were there, I didn't notice in the video that what's your friend's name, the kindest boy in the world?
Chase?
Yes. I saw him over Eric Cornish's shoulder just tearing some popcorn up, like straight up Munch City.
They catch him eating a lot of different things on the edge there in his seat. I'll say that. He knows where to find the camera. The camera knows where to find him. So, yeah, I really do hate to, in all honesty and in earnesty, that sucks, man.
Yeah.
That sucks. It's been such a great run for them. Really the past year, between being the kind of roughest kind of scoundrels, in the locker room, to being the baby faces that they are now, and kind of all of that culminating with this run with the titles. Just it sucks, man.
It really does.
So let's jump into bout one of the evening. Luscious Lawrence, now that he is no longer a tag team champion, has a match free for the pay-per-view, and he got saddled with Ashton Adonis, who was joined by Leela Feist here. Speaking of people that are on a tear, I feel like Ashton Adonis is like right underneath the point where he's about to go on a tear.
Think so.
He's just really putting together a lot of really great performances over the past few weeks. It kind of seems like some of the kinks with the Leela Feist thing have been figured out. I really do think that at the beginning of the Leela Feist Ashton Adonis pairing, that there was like some genuine miscommunication.
Yeah.
And that kind of grew into something that we saw more intentionally.
Yes.
It kind of became a part of their act, a part of their shtick. And it seems as if they've kind of worked over that, which is nice to see. There's a point, one of my favorite points in the evening, where Ashton Adonis goes and grabs a towel to get the baby oil off of his hands.
Yeah.
And then as Leela is distracting the referee, Adonis chokes Luscious with the towel.
Yes.
Good stuff. Really, really good stuff.
I wish I'd have gotten that moment. I forgot it. I missed
Classic
it.
heel move.
It really is.
Let's see what
No,
we do.
I was talking about you.
Oh, yeah.
I'm kidding.
I am a classic heel.
Let's see what we do have.
Oh, hang on.
Uh-oh.
I am playing audio. Stand by a second.
Stand by.
We need some elevator music.
What's the frequency, Kenneth?
It's a very good question.
It's your Benzatrine. Uh-huh.
All right. Let's try this again, shall we?
Let's do it. So we see Ashton Adonis. He has Luscious Lawrence in the corner. Big European uppercut. Drags Luscious over. Is very still.
Yeah. Sorry, there was a
Okay.
lag in our video
Now
feed.
he's
I accidentally paused it, actually.
Now he's getting
Boom.
into it, kind of up and over Luscious Lawrence there. What's that called? Like,
Is that a snapmare?
Yeah, I think you're right.
Or a variation of it?
I think you're right. And it's, Ashton's looking good, man. Ashton's, I think, put on a little bit of muscle definition. I think he's getting a little more comfortable inside of the OVW ring. And Leela was everywhere he needed her to be during the course of this match.
Without issue, it is important to note.
Without issue, yeah. So it seems like they're kind of getting over their hump from a storyline perspective. But Lawrence is still Lawrence. Let's see what else we've got here.
There's the old ass attack.
Tries to take Luscious up and over for a suplex. Luscious isn't having it. hip thrusts into Ashton's lower quarters, and he ends up taking the victory here against Ashton Adonis this evening. And we do show finishes on the Thursday night shows. We will not be showing finishes for this show
because this is still available at OVWTix.com. Go buy if you haven't seen it. Go buy it. It's worth your time.
Yeah, no spoilers from us.
Great 3 hours. You get to see a lot of the pre-show as well, so a little bit more bang for your buck.
I had questions about the pre-show. We'll talk about that off mic.
And easier than ever to kind of consume these, because I think once you buy the link, you can go. The link should go straight through the YouTube. There's no third-party thing. We all have YouTube on our phone. We all probably watch more YouTube than we do cable at this point.
Yep, I certainly do.
So easier than ever to consume.
So yeah, go get this and see these finishes. They're worth your time.
Yeah, especially as we get more and more into the evening. Some of this stuff is. There's some big surprises. We'll just put it that way.
Most definitely. The only thing I want to say about the warm-up matches, the pre-show matches, is I'm glad that they put Showtime Shanklin out there first, because you can't have March Mayhem without Showtime. I mean, come on now.
No, man.
Come on, man.
He's looking good, too.
Yeah. He looked like money.
And I kind of liked the Dusty Rhodes guy, too.
Yeah, I had questions about that, but that's fine. We'll talk about that later. We got a lot of ground to cover today.
We sure do. Brian Hines, let's. I guess most important to note, we don't know what's next for Luscious, but he's in a really strong spot, momentum-wise, right now.
Oh, absolutely.
He sure seemed excited.
He probably not only did he take the victory, he probably took a lot of the frustrations of being stripped of the titles out on Ashton Adonis as well.
I would say so. And, there was the whole issue of Luscious and Omar kind of not seeing eye to eye as far as
there's also that.
What the future of the team or what they should be paying attention to would be. So it seems like all of that is now taken care of as well.
Well, I mean, in the sense that he's injured and he won't be around, but did they figure out who attacked him?
Well, I don't think it's Luscious. Do you think there's any world where
I'm not saying that at all.
No,
I was just
asking
because we had the Thursday night show and then we had the Saturday show, and there was just so much ground to cover. I was trying to remember out loud whether or not we actually had that answer.
I don't think that we have any conclusion to that yet. But do you think that there's any world where it was Luscious?
No.
I don't either.
Absolutely not.
That was certainly the implication, certainly what they wanted us to think. I don't see that.
No, I'm not buying it.
And honestly, I don't know if I would like to see it. I think the Luscious versus Omar that we got while Katie was still kind of attached to them, and their kind of numbskullery. That's the only kind of Luscious and Omar I want to see against each other.
Yeah,
it's like I don't know if I have the fortitude to sit and watch like a program where they hate each other.
No, I don't want to see a knockdown drag out between Omar and Lush, man.
I really don't. I just want them to be two Bart Simpsons chilling out.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the match, the second match of the pay-per-view, Brian Hines.
Okay. The second bout starts us off with Leela Feist versus Tatjevic, which was a surprise for me. I didn't expect to see her there.
Definitely.
And Rachel Leigh, it was good to see her back. We last saw her at the Nightmare Rumble, right?
I think we've seen her once since
Have
then.
we?
Her and Leela a few weeks ago were
There it is.
They were having the gymnastics competition.
Oh, okay.
And I don't mean that to be disparaging, but that was something that stuck out right away.
Right. Yeah.
Very gymnastic.
I remember
the
that
two
now.
of them are very, very talented in that offensive style, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I was very surprised to see Tatjevic here. We haven't seen her in a little bit, and I want to say, was it you that told me that she was on TV at AEW or something?
Yeah,
The internet sure told me.
That's why I was surprised to see her here, because I had seen on Facebook where she had been on AEW, and it's like, hey, good for you, man. I'm proud of you.
Not the first time AEW has shared talent with OVW.
And vice versa.
Mm-hmm.
And Leela Feist here, doing double duty. She was, of course, the manager in the first match of the pay-per-view, straight back out through the curtain to wrestle a match. Why do you think we never see Ashton Adonis at ringside with Leela Feist? Is it just not the package? Is it just not, that's not what we do?
I mean, I don't know. The last time we saw him escort her out for a match, he just kind of stayed at the top of the entrance there, like he was watching his kindergartner get to the school bus and just kind of like waving her goodbye, like good luck. I'll
he
see
was
you
just
later
right back
when you
through.
get home from school.
Yeah, I do remember that, and it seems like that's as far as it's ever gotten.
Yeah, I don't remember seeing
just to
anything
the top of
beyond
the
that.
entrance ramp.
She's a strong, independent woman who don't need no man.
She works hard for the money.
You better treat her right.
Yeah.
Let's see this double arm drag here, please. Wow, Rachel Leigh.
That was impressive.
Yeah, turning both Tochovic and Leela Feist over. Rachel Leigh, not Rachel Ray. She's on the Food Network.
Yeah.
Rachel Leigh is very, very impressive in the handful of times that we've seen her recently.
She most definitely is. And in addition to all her in-ring skills, I mean, she came out with some great gear.
Yeah, no.
Everybody in this match looked great.
Very clean, very shiny.
Yeah, very sparkly.
Very new gear. We know, unfortunately, that new gear doesn't stay new for very long.
No, unfortunately not.
But it looks good for right now.
Yeah.
Let's see the tug of war sequence here that we saw in the middle of this
This
match,
just
please.
amused me. I just got this for no other reason than I found it funny.
We see Tochovic and Rachel back and forth. We see Tochovic see Rachel into the ropes. Leela trips her. And now I think as Josh Ashcraft referred to it, pulling apart a cheese stick, a mozzarella stick. I think that this is also, we eventually see Leela pull Rachel to the outside. I think that was just there was a lot of stuff in these matches that was just like very, very like Gaga-y. Like,
yeah.
Not just this one. I mean, the Big Zoe.
Wait till we get to, Big Zoe and Josephine. Yeah.
Like just Gaga.
I got
galore.
all that.
Rachel Leigh, though, getting a victory here at a pay-per-view and pinning Tochovic, who doesn't really eat pins that often.
No, not really.
At least not in the time that we've seen her. She's always been kind of presented as kind of a hard ass, a striker.
Yeah, she's got the MMA background.
Mm-hmm. And, Rachel Leigh, she's just a professional wrestler, and she took home the victory on this one.
I've do got one more clip from this bout if you want to see it.
Would love to. See Leela in the corner. Rachel's got Leela in the corner. She's up. One punch, two punches. Tochovic's across the ring, comes over, tries to ruin Rachel Leigh's party. And there it is. Rachel Leigh up and over with the head scissors into the pinning predicament. Back to that very, very effortless kind of cheerleading-esque or gymnastics-esque movement.
Yeah, that was a great reversal.
Yeah, that Rachel Leigh is very, very proficient at. I think she's got a lot of forward momentum. I think she's got a lot of room to grow. And that's not necessarily saying that like she's not there yet, but room to grow inside of her role at OVW.
Oh yeah, she's got leaps and bounds.
And when into the pay-per-view, it's not a bad way. Not a bad way to start.
Absolutely
not a bad way to start. All right, let's talk about Gaga, shall we?
This is just a whole ass party.
Los Desafios versus Big Zoe and TW3. Big Zoe and TW3. Make a lot of sense as a tag team. I don't think we've seen this before, at least in the time that we've been covering.
No.
Make a lot of sense as a tag team. Both very energetic, kind of like to kind of be silly and kind of like dance and like, get the big crowd reaction, the big babyface crowd reaction.
It's so easy for them to both get the crowd into it.
Yeah, and then it's super easy for them to do it. And then they're also like can turn that off and turn on being a straight killer, like right in the middle of a match. And two of the more like genuinely athletic people too in OVW.
It's interesting to think about TW3 this time last year was paired with another huge competitor here in OVW, but that was more of a mentoring relationship.
Definitely.
With Donovan. This is we are kind of peers here with when you see Big Zo together with TW3.
And I don't think that we're speaking out of school for calling it a mentoring relationship. I think Donovan has been very vocal with that, and at least on these airwaves and in person with people, with other members of the crowd, how much TW3 influenced him and how much TW3 was able to kind of bring a different side of him out. And now look at Donovan. He's even removed from where he was with TW3.
Yeah.
Very far removed from it.
Obviously, the mentoring worked.
Yeah. No, absolutely. Let's see the dancing. I want to see some dancing.
I got some dancing for you. Let's look at some dancing.
Oh.
Oh, hell yeah. That's awesome.
Even Hoda and Zoe out on the corner into it.
Yeah.
TW3 thinks we're still playing around. Maximo, though, Maximo,
not so much.
He's a veteran of this game, and he knows that we're still in the middle of a wrestling match, and that my job here is to get that pin.
Yeah. I would love to see a dance-off between these two teams.
Let's see another dance-off.
We have some more dancing. We changed partners.
Yeah, so TW3 tags in Big Zo. We hear the crowd kind of want Hoda.
See, there he goes.
There he is.
So Maximo goes and tags Hoda. He's a little offended at first, I think, saying, no, I'm the real dancer. That's my dance. I can do that dance better. And Big Zo, who's so incredibly light on his feet for no reason. Just getting funky.
Yeah.
Just getting funky.
I kind of like to think of that as a war dance.
Much like his partner, Hoda Peso, goes for the pin. Not as successful, though.
Not even close.
Really hard. A little easier to move TW3 when you're a man Maximo Suave size than it is to move Big Zo when you're a man Hoda Peso size. Let's go ahead and see Hoda and TW3 back and forth. I think that this was what a lot of people wanted to see out of this match is TW3 and Hoda Peso kind of be paired with each other. Much like the triple threat match that we saw later in the evening, I think people really wanted to see the two Anthonys fight, which means Tony Evans wasn't in a majority of the match. But I really think that the crowd was here for Hoda and TW3 to lock horns. We do eventually see Los Desafios take the victory over Big Zo and TW3. Not surprising, I would say.
No, I mean, it could have gone either way. It was a very even matchup. I mean, whether we're talking dance or wrestling, but they just happened to come out on top this time.
Yeah, well, and we know that at any given point, like, TW3 might be here for 3 weeks, might be here for 3 months.
That's true.
You know,
it's good to have him back while he's here, though. He looks fantastic.
Love to see him back. Always great to see him. But
new music and new ring gear for T. Yeah. So I think that it's probably a reasonable assumption that we're going to see more of TW on the regular.
I'm here for it.
But I like the giving the nod to Los Desafios here on the pay-per-view.
Yeah.
They weren't the number 1 or number 2 contender later on in the evening for the vacated championship. So nice to kind of get a victory on the pay-per-view nonetheless.
Absolutely.
It's a team that we're both like super duper fond of, and
well, Maximo Suave was your first friend in wrestling, really.
He was. And I really would have loved to see them in the vacancy spot.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Loud and Lawless was a good choice. Spoiler alert: Loud and Lawless was a good choice. Let's talk about the match that I just mentioned here. It's a Tony Evans versus Anthony Toatelli and Anthony Katina.
The 3 Tonys.
You didn't go with Tony.
They did say it,
like
Linda
the
did
90s
say
band.
Raphael Sadiq's band from the 90s.
Yeah, none of those people were actually named Tony. That's the best part of that band.
I did not know that, but sure, it was the 90s. Why not? It was a fun time.
Yeah, I knew it because the lead singer's name was Raphael Sadiq. Come on, man.
Come on, man.
He's going to start charging us for using that catchphrase.
He should. Or he should charge people $25 a pop for a T-shirt that says it on it. I'm just saying.
Wink, wink.
But give me one for free. You can charge him $12. Actually, charge him $50 for one.
Why don't you give each other $20?
I'll give you $20.
No, you give him $20 and then he gives you $20.
He can just have it, man.
Okay.
He can just have it. I don't want him to beat me up. I think that the really big part of this match was what I wanted to see the most was Anthony Katina and Anthony Toatelli, kind of getting rid of Evans at the beginning of the match and really making this a 2-on-2 for a while. And Tony Evans, from a character perspective, he don't mind to spend the entire time outside.
No, we've seen it before.
Yeah, so
or under the ring even.
It's actually kind of amazing that he got thrown out of the ring and didn't just walk out of the ring and let the guys have a wrestling match. That seems more in line, but with his past behavior. But in the past, he always had Jay De Niro with him.
That's true.
Tonight, Jay De Niro, nowhere to be found.
At ringside, at the start of the match, no. And Evans was out of the match in the first 10 or 15 seconds.
Oh, yeah.
He rolled out of the ring right away and stayed there for a good long time,
Anthony,
which is a good move on his part.
Anthony Toatelli and Anthony Katina could fill any amount of time that you needed them to, and I want to see them wrestle more often.
Amen.
I really, really, really like the spark between Toatelli and Katina. And I think that they're two guys that you could just go out there with little to no direction and just say, have fun, and you're going to get something really high quality.
Yeah. I mean, for the most part, this was a really great one-on-one match between those two.
Mm-hmm.
Tony Evans just happened to be part of it.
And I hope we run it back.
Yes.
Evans is less. Evans less.
If
Evans
we
less.
had, when was the best of 7 series between Big Zoe and Shane Mercer? Was that last year?
Last fall.
Yeah,
Last fall. If they plan on doing a best of 7 series for 2025, I would love for this to be it.
Yeah, that's a great call.
Yeah.
That's a great call. Let's see some of the highlights from this match, Tiny Brian. So Katina's on the outside. Toatelli's got his head in the ropes.
A sunset flip into a sunset flip,
a springboard into a sunset flip, which makes
into a slingshot,
which makes Tony Evans suplex Anthony Toatelli.
Yeah,
fun stuff. Let's see some of this action between Toatelli and Katina that we've been talking all about. Up and over, reversal, rolls through. Both hit the ropes. Oh,
both
man.
Double clothesline.
And that symmetry, I talk about this all the time in wrestling. That's when you're on to something really fun and really cool. At least in I love huge story-driven events. You know what I mean? But sometimes I just like to watch two dudes wrestle. Yeah. And Anthony Katina and Anthony Toatelli are two dudes who wrestle the way that I like to watch just no storyline, low stakes, stuff happen.
Yeah.
The story really of this match, though, we saw great action between Anthony Toatelli and Anthony Katina. Go back and watch this whole pay-per-view because it was a great night. But that
OVWTix.com.
But that was hopefully an indication of more to come from those two gentlemen. But let's see the rising action here between De Niro and Tony Evans. So we see Evans as Katina pinned. It's a 2 count. Everyone's looking around. The crowd
hear the music.
Yeah, the music is hit. We're just not hearing it. There he is.
Music's hit. The crowd sees sees Jay De Niro. Jay De Niro in a new suit, looking great. By the way,
yeah, love red on him.
Chewing on a straw
or a toothpick.
Toothpick of sorts.
And Tony Evans is saying, "Help me with Anthony Katina. We've done this 1,000 times."
And Jay lets his response be heard without saying a word, as he always does.
Which is great stuff.
There it is. One more time. Here it is. Boom.
Takes that toothpick, flicks it right in Tony Evans' face.
And, I really do think that there's a world where we can keep Jay De Niro mostly silent and him still be such a huge on-screen presence.
Yeah, we sure can. 2
Um,
years in, and we've only heard him say a couple of things.
And I really don't think that he needs to go right to being a guy with a microphone in his hand every week. Because, I mean, look what he was able to achieve, such a huge, memorable moment from a night full of memorable moments at this pay-per-view. Look
Without
what he was
making a
able to
sound.
achieve without making a sound.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I might be able to produce that toothpick.
So is this another piece of OVW ephemera that you have tracked down?
That is correct, yes.
Did Mr. Joe help with this one?
Actually, no. That would be SK.
Oh, right on. Right on.
Referee
Yes.
who will come up again.
He will, most definitely. And thank you very much for that, by the way.
That Tony Evans not getting the aid of Jay De Niro shocks him enough to leave his guard down. Anthony Totelli comes rushing in for a super kick. Anthony Katina then comes rushing in for a super kick. We pick up Tony Evans, put his spine on the pine, flip over for the pinning predicament, kind of the inverted pin there. And Anthony Katina walks away our winner from a great little match.
He sure does. And De Niro's impact at ringside was, at least in part, the deciding factor.
I would agree.
So before we move on, let's jump back our first time and look at something from OVW, not of Fatal 4-Ways.
Okay.
This is the end of I believe, the Rush Division Fatal 4-Way.
Right, with TW3, Evil Z,
Super Z,
Star
yeah.
Rider, and Icon Lee.
Yes.
Looks like
There's the
TW3
low
is going to
blow.
take home the victory. Evil Z with the low blow. Star Rider with the huge stack pin. And Star Rider has punched his ticket to March Mayhem.
Does that mean Evil Z is a junk punch hero?
For those of you that don't know, we have on our Wednesday night show, which we'll be recording here in a little bit, we have a commentor whose name is Junk Punch Hero.
With a Skeletor profile picture, by the way,
and
which
we
I
know
appreciate.
we know nothing about this person, but we want to know more.
Mm-hmm.
So if you listen to this podcast, Junk Punch Hero, send us a DM. I mean, who knows? They might even be at OVW. We might have been talking to him this whole time.
Yeah, it's entirely possible.
I mean, it could be Al Snow for all we know.
Nah,
Nah.
Probably not.
Come on, man.
it would be your mom joke hero.
Yeah.
You're right, yeah.
So we see Star Rider. We just saw him take home the victory from the Fatal 4-Way. That means he's cemented his spot against Super Z here at March Mayhem. Super Z comes out bandaged up. Looks like he's taken some injury to the ribs.
Technically takes 2 rounds of his music to get him out there.
It was really unfortunate that as that thing started to come unraveled, that it kind of stuck to his butt and it looked like toilet paper. I thought that was pretty unfortunate, like, to be honest, because other than that, this was kind of a banger of a match. But like when you're just thinking about poo jokes, like it's kind of hard to.
Yeah. The only
You
thing
know.
that would have been better is if it was stuck to the bottom of a shoe.
That's what it reminded me of. Obviously,
It was comical in that sense.
I've always, ever since I was a little kid, I always wondered why that was funny. I don't know what, like, it's just a thing that we've accepted in pop culture as being really funny.
Have you ever seen it out in real life?
No.
Because it is.
What, someone with toilet paper on their shoe?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's hilarious.
How do you get toilet paper on your shoe?
It generally has to be in the floor already.
Why'd you put it in the floor?
There are other people who may have
The
done
other
it.
people in the public restroom aren't as conscientious of cleaning up after themselves.
In this version.
Fun fact. I used to deliver to like all the Krogers in town, so I know where all the employee bathrooms are. And sometimes I'll just act like I'm supposed to be there and go in a Kroger back room and use the employee bathroom because Kroger bathrooms are effing disgusting.
Yeah. All the ones I've ever
Not
been
a
to have just
sponsor.
been no.
Fun fact. Now, the only person they sponsor is Malachi over there. He's in the Kroger mines, toiling away every day.
Toileting.
Toileting away. Yeah, dude. It's amazing what you can do with a pair of khakis and a polo.
Yeah.
You can
With a
really,
lanyard and a clipboard, you can go anywhere.
you can really get just about anywhere if you keep your chin up and walk with like you have a purpose.
Yeah, if you act like you're supposed to be there, it's amazing how far you'll go.
So that was bathroom talk from the OVW podcast. Evil Z is, of course, he's joining Star Rider. It seems like they can't go anywhere without one another. And anytime Super Z seems to be getting a momentum, Evil Z is there to trip him up, or if he gets shot to the outside, Evil Z is there to beat him up. Evil Z is there to distract refs. Super Z does a bunch of jaw jacket to distract the ref during this entire match. There's a point in this match where Super Z tries to go to the top rope. Evil Z, or not Evil Z, but Star Rider has him scouted from a mile away, rolls out of the way from the springboard body. What's the crossbody that Super Z has? Let's go ahead and see this first clip here. Super Z trying to mount an offense, got Star Rider in the corner, chopping him down like a big old redwood. Super Z puts it into, or Star Rider, I'm sorry, puts it into it just with one huge kick to the midsection, really, really letting the audience know that Super Z is hurting in his chest.
Yeah.
Chest and stomach.
Everything we had seen before Star Rider kind of came into the picture. All of Super Z's matches were like the superhero comes in to save the day.
Mm-hmm.
They're all relatively short unless it was like a multi-person match or something like that. This wasn't one of those. This was more of a battle. And I wonder whether or not this is the first battle in the war between Super Z and Star Rider.
Well, they've been in each other's hair, presumably hair underneath the masks, for
Allegedly.
for a long time. But this is really the first big, I would say, set piece match that they've got to have. We've seen matches between the two of them. We've seen aggression between the two of them. But Saturday night on a pay-per-view at Davis Arena, you have to bring the goods. It's a different level. It doesn't matter how many times you've wrestled before or you'll wrestle again. You have to make that match memorable.
Yeah.
And I think that they definitely managed to do that. Let's see our next clip here. Got a front headlock to Super Z.
The toilet paper's already in place.
Trying to take him over for the suplex.
Reversal.
Super kick.
Jinx. Coke.
And Star Rider is hurting. Let's see that. You want to see it again? Well, I want to see it again. I kind of liked that reversal. It was pretty slick. So, yeah, up and over for the suplex. Yeah, reversal. Tries to send him to the rope. Star Rider catches his feet and then plants him with the super kick right there.
You love to see it.
I do. So this match really was about to go on for a really long time. This match was something that had a ton of room to breathe. These guys are very, very kind of equal. Until Super Z sees his opportunity, small package, 1, 2, 3.
Yeah.
And when you saw him pull him over on the small package, I was just like, oh yeah,
Cleverly done.
very,
by
very
our
well,
local neighborhood superhero.
very well done.
I
Very
think he's
well
been
done
having
stuff.
coffee with Dustin Jackson. Like, look, this is how you do it, because that's been his thing.
That was Dustin Jackson's trick there for a little bit.
Coffee talk.
Why don't you take us away, Brown Hans?
Let's see where we are. Our next bout is. So we're going back to Thursday night.
Let's
okay.
look at the victory of the in the tag team fatal 4-way. Love this move anyway.
Yeah,
It's called
I do too.
The mosh pit. Did I get
That
right?
apparently that's what they said on commentary. Yes, sir.
Good stuff. High stack there from Jake Lawless.
Double team finisher. That was a really strong finisher, a team finisher from them. I'm glad to see them together. They make a great team. So
yeah, we of course know that the reason that we got to this match is because Beaches and Cream vacated.
yes, like we mentioned at the top of the program.
I kind of my question is, are Loud and Lawless a little too similar of a tag team to Beaches and Cream? Does this seem like we have a new champion, or does it seem like we've just kind of made a lateral move over? In terms, these are rock and roll party guys, good time guys, kind of, verge on silliness, verge on, being ridiculous.
Yeah, at times.
Do you mind if I make have something to say about this?
Sure.
Both teams are. You'll see them at the bar. Like, that's their gimmick, is you'll see them at the bar. Beaches and Cream work the door. Loud and Lawless are performing on stage.
They're on the stage.
Yeah.
So that's where the difference kind of, and that's how they're similar, but that's also how they're different.
And they're singing "Lips of an Angel" by Hinder.
They sure are.
That's that's my guess.
Ew. Just no.
Yeah, man. Dude, you weren't there in 8th grade when I was. I'm not going to say her full name, I almost did. my Junction City girlfriend, when Lips of an Angel came out, like, dude, that was like in 8th grade, you're like, that's your song. Like, that song's about us. Like, I've had so much emotions. I am 13 and I've lived every emotion in life.
I mean,
and this
the person singing the song is actively cheating on their girlfriend by talking to the girl who is called so late.
Listen.
Yes, I know the song.
That did not matter in 8th grade. What mattered in 8th grade? The chorus. That's it. That's the only thing that mattered. It didn't matter not the song, but the chorus and how sweet it was, and that the lips of an angel existed.
I don't know, man. I figured it was probably some kind of 80s power rock or glam metal. I mean, with all the glitter, come on.
I think that they have to split the set list.
Do they have to split the glitter?
Because it's like one of those things where, like, somehow, like, you go to a bar and, like, the cover band knows Rio by Duran Duran, and they also know, like, Ain't Talking About Love.
Yeah.
I think it's just like you just kind of split the set list and try to keep playing the hits. As long as someone recognizes the chorus.
Yeah.
You know how it works in these cover bands. We've gotten way off track. I'm very sorry.
I'm enjoying it. Y'all are fun.
What do I want to say here? Let's go ahead and see the first clip.
Hey, I just didn't do that.
So it was Loud and Lawless versus the AJZ and Leo Fox, because those were the two teams that scored a pinfall during the Fatal 4-Ways.
They were the number 1 and number 2 contenders.
Yes.
Because Los Desafios was actually eliminated during the elimination round.
Right. I think I would like to see more of AJZ and Leo Fox. In the little bit that we were talking to Leo Fox off mic, after he did that interview with us last week, I liked the way that he spoke about his chemistry with AJZ.
Yes.
It seems like even though they are a brand new tag team, they made very quick friends. It seems like they both kind of come to the ring with this straight up animalistic brutality, this straight up, can't turn off brutality.
Right.
Which is not the Leo Fox that we sat down and talked to, and I have a feeling is probably not the AJZ that we one day will sit down and talk to. But for whatever reason, in that wrestling ring,
nothing but business.
Nothing but business, and they turn it on, and they're both strong competitors. They're a good-looking tag team together. I would like to see more of them, but the established tag team at this point between the two of them is Loud and Lawless, and we know this from OVW is pretty consistent on this. If you are the more experienced tag team, that will be the reasoning for which you win a match. And it's a pay-per-view match. It's belt implications. I don't think for the future of the belt and the stories that we can tell with it, I don't think that AJZ and our friend Leo Fox were the right choice. I do think that we are in for a very, very, very fun title reign.
The raucous reign of Loud and Lawless.
I was at the merch table, and Jake's daughter was there, who we met at the Manchester show when she was running around here. And there's something really cool about seeing a kid who is around the business the way that she is still gets so excited about her dad winning.
Yes.
And
It was really sweet.
It was really, really, really sweet. And that will be one of my takeaways from their victory is like I try to come on here and act cynical. At the end of the day, I'm sentimental and I'm looking for a reason to cry. All right. That little girl's excitement after seeing her dad raise those title belts was genuinely very cool. And I'm very glad I got to experience it.
I'm glad too.
All right. Moving on.
Want to see another clip first?
Yeah,
know
let's
it.
see another clip. Oh, yeah, because I do want to see this Von Rocket hot tag clip. That was really the story of the match.
This is him trying to get the tag. He doesn't get it.
Jake Lawless can get picked up and thrown around and beat up around a wrestling ring almost better than anybody. And Ryan Von Rocket out there on the outside, not unlike Omar Amir waiting for a hot tag.
Uh-huh. I was just thinking that same thing.
I was so ready, like sitting and watching this match, so ready for Ryan Von Rocket to get this hot tag. And then the moment that it happens, he is in there and just like on fire. And Ryan Von Rocket has probably been the best over the last few weeks that we've seen him in our time doing this podcast.
Yeah, he's back and he's ready to go and getting the job done on Saturday.
Whether it be with Jake Lawless or that solo match that he had with Dustin Jackson a few weeks ago that I thought was just like he was absolutely tremendous in. I think that we're in for a fun ride with them, and both of them are in very rare form right now.
Yeah,
both Loud and Lawless are in very, very rare form right now. And again, hate to see it get vacated from Beaches and Cream, but I think with your options, this was your best choice.
Let's see that hot tag you were talking about, shall we?
Boom. Takes Leo Fox down.
hot tag party of one.
Atomic drop. I love an atomic drop. I want to see more atomic drops at the big boys.
I was very glad to see that that is a major part of his
Watch this.
wrestling repertoire.
Yeah.
Drop toe hold.
Drop toe
right to the
hold.
crotch.
Which, I mean, and this is just stuff that a sequence like we just saw, that says all you need to see about how good Ryan Von Rocket's been this past couple weeks.
Yeah.
This is a sliver of how good he's been these past
He
couple
really
weeks.
has been on fire since he's come back, and I'm glad to see it.
And
He's always asking, "Are you with me?" The answer is yes. Yes, I am.
couple of exciting title changes during the course of the evening, and this was definitely one of them. Let's move ahead to the OVW media four-way from last Thursday's show. That was between Revolver, Katina, Beretta, and Toatelli. Do we have the ending clip of that?
Yep. Here we go.
The finish from last Thursday?
Big slam from Toatelli.
Yeah, we already see kind of the beginnings of these two guys in ring chemistry from last Thursday.
Brandon Beretta tries to get back in the ring. Revolver quickly knocks him out and sneaks up behind Toatelli and grabs the win.
That's it. That is
a classic Revolver
that's
move.
classic Revolver.
Yeah.
We see throughout this evening, we see a bunch of like really great backstage clips and like interviews and stuff like that. I think I do want to mention that. I know there was one in the run up to this match particularly that this is just them more so expanding their production quality.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's welcome, right? Everything can get stale if you see it too often and it goes on for too long, and that doesn't make it bad, but change is the spice of life.
Yes, and
You
they've really upped the stakes as far as production goes, both in Davis Arena and if you're watching at home. They've done a great job of bringing all these stories to life on a weekly basis.
So I think that in the Adam Revolver Dustin Jackson match that we always kind of knew what we were going to get. Dustin Jackson is your shimmering, most brightest baby face, just white meat as hell.
Local boy done good.
Local boy done great. Adam Revolver is one of the great wrestlers on the OVW roster, but is also great at cutting corners. One of my favorite sequences in this match was Dustin Jackson going up for that cutter that he's managed to take everybody out with up until this point. Adam Revolver's too smart for it, gets him in the sleeper hold. Dustin Jackson, though, I don't think there was any question. Like, Dustin Jackson retained this.
Yeah.
I think this one was pretty chalk on the night. Dustin Jackson's been great in this role with this title so far. And I don't think that it was, like, the right time to take it away from him.
Although it wasn't for lack of trying, because that sleeper that Adam Revolver put on him was smooth and almost so close to being completely effective.
Was this almost a face versus face? Like
At this point,
I mean,
I would
face versus smaller face.
I wouldn't say Adam Revolver's a face. He's very situational.
the crowd didn't seem to be particularly mad at him, though. They kind of cheered for both of them.
Adam Revolver has been around, man. Like, and OVW fans in Davis Arena, they get persnickety early. Like, I'm not saying that I've fallen out of love with the Dustin Jackson thing, but I can definitely see, like, fans in Davis Arena get itchy, man.
Yeah.
Like, you know what
Yeah.
I mean? And, like, that's not a good thing or a bad thing. It's just an observation.
It is what it is.
They get itchy, and when they start smelling blood in the water, that sensation spreads like wildfire almost across the entire crowd. Look at the Revolution.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there was 2 people at first that were like, this is actually good. 2 weeks later,
It was half the crowd.
it was half the crowd.
Yeah. And they were like, the crowd was fighting with itself, which was a unique thing to see. But that was how intense people felt about OVW versus the Revolution. And it was interesting.
And I'm just saying, everybody knows I love Dustin Jackson. Been loving Dustin Jackson for a long time. Was super excited to see him back. Was thrilled to see him win this title. But I will say, OVW fans in Davis Arena specifically, they're a wild bunch and they're hard to contain.
Yeah.
Okay, that's all. That's all. I'm
And
gonna
we
say.
love them.
Oh yeah, I know. Best fans on the face of the planet.
Y'all want to see some clips?
Would
Yeah.
love to. Dustin Jackson tries to go over for the senton.
Nobody home.
He's on the outside. He's really put himself in a bad situation there.
He's fallen and he can't get up.
Let's see Dustin's comeback here, because almost nobody does it better than Dustin Jackson in a hope spot. We see all of our friends over there too.
Yeah.
So Dustin wriggles out, hits him with he bonks Adam Revolver's chin on the top of his head. He's in the corner, still kind of fighting for it. Big boot to Adam Revolver, big time lariat on Adam Revolver, really gaining a lot of momentum. And if we've seen Dustin Jackson matches before, I think we know what Adam Revolver got taken out with.
I'm going to go with the cutter.
Yeah, Dustin Jackson has been kind of able. He hasn't really met anyone yet that he can't take out with that cutter.
He's very cutterific.
Except Leather Daddy Doug. He couldn't do that.
He got him with one.
Well, yeah, but he's not allowed to do it and there was a match where he wasn't allowed to win that way.
Well, that's true, but
Let's go ahead and see the finish of the Fatal 4-Way that has implications for the women's match, please.
Maddie the American Baddie there.
that's a split stunner, right?
That's what I like to call it.
I think she calls it the Thorn.
So
That makes sense.
let's take a second while we have it.
Mm-hmm.
Am I the only one fascinated by Maddie the American Baddie in here?
No.
That clip that we played on Fan Zone last week, that I wish I had told you to pull for right here. If you guys haven't seen it, it's on Instagram and Facebook and all this stuff. Where did you see it?
Yeah, we watched it on Fan Zone.
Yeah, where she's kind of in a green screen. My understanding is she has her own home studio, so like she's able to do a lot of content like this. It's like a cross between a wrestling promo and a Tim and Eric Awesome Show sketch. And
Kind of is. It does have.
Great job.
and it was a great. I'm fascinated by it. Like, I want her to do one of these a week.
Yeah.
Like, I will watch the Maddie the American Baddie talking straight into the camera thing like all the time. Like,
Yeah.
and she's got some jokes, dude. Like, some of those jokes were pretty good.
Yeah, I would love to see a stand-up comedy tour with her and Mount Kadeem.
Oh yeah,
Wow.
yeah. That's the other thing is Mount Kadeem, bro. Like, your time telling jokes might be in the past. I might just want to hear Maddie the American Baddie try to get Fetch over. You know, like that might be where it's at. And I'm very, I'm over here talking about how OVW Davis Arena fans are fickle and persnickety, and I'm like, anybody makes me laugh, that's not my new favorite person now.
We love dancing.
Yeah, what do I know? Yeah, I love dancing now.
Last week's we love jokes. This week we love dancing.
I don't think it was a surprise that Sophia Rose found herself in the pay-per-view position here.
Absolutely not.
Sophia Rose has been, up until this point, very, very undeniable.
Yeah.
No one has more momentum. No one, if you asked anyone in the OVW audience who deserved a title shot and a title victory, no one would say, I think, anyone other than Sophia Rose. I really do think that it would be near zero on anyone denying Sophia Rose's momentum or her deservedness in this moment, right?
Yeah, I can't think of anybody who would be like, wait, what? Really? No.
Let's go ahead and see our first clip here. And, let's not forget, too, that, Sophia Rose has risen to the occasion.
There's the cartwheel into the corner.
Also flip to the occasion.
J-Rod,
It's flipped to be square.
J-Rod counters the cartwheel with a big back forearm, and then just those slams that J-Rod has made patented, right?
Yeah.
Do we have the next clip as well?
Sure. Let's get right to it.
We really got to see Sophia Rose fired up.
Yeah. I mean, this is one of those things, man. Like, we were here at the beginning of the Sophia Rose experiment, and now we've seen it through to one of its logical, I don't want to say the word conclusions, but to its most logical chapter ending, right? There was nobody that was gonna not let Sophia Rose win. I think at this March Mayhem, I really, it was just so incredibly palpable. And J-Rod's been a great champion, one of the best champions in the entire time that we've covered this.
And, I mean, in recent weeks, as far as we're concerned, she's been the most solid champion in the Revolution.
Absolutely. The thing, though, here is we had to give the audience something because we didn't get it in the rest of the evening. This was our send 'em home happy match.
Yeah. Our
And
biggest shining moment of the night.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's face it, Loud and Lawless, as the new tag team champions, just doesn't quite have the emotional resonance that Sophia Rose getting her singles title does.
Oh, no. No,
Not at all. Honestly, nowhere close. This was our send 'em home happy moment of the evening.
Sophia's mom was in attendance at Davis Arena, if
Yes,
I'm
she
not
was.
mistaken.
I
As
was
she
hoping to
almost-
get a word with her, but I just, too many people, too much going on, too much emotion in the room.
On behalf of the podcast, will say this. So congratulations, Sophia Rose.
Yes, congratulations. I actually got really emotional after that. It's like, I was just so proud of
It
you.
was an emotional moment. It was.
It was.
It was. When I say palpable in the arena, I mean it. Like, not only this has to be Sophia. This has to be Sophia tonight. Not only was that very palpable, but people's reaction when the bell rang and we knew that we had a new women's champion, that was also very palpable. Huge range of emotions. Like, this is what makes OVW different than almost anywhere else that you can wrestle, is these to some of these people, this is like your friend or your granddaughter or your sister.
Yeah.
Or your mom, or your brother, or whoever. Like, the relationships that people have with wrestlers in OVW, I think at the beginning of this I called parasocial, and I was very wrong. to use that word, because these are actually just social relationships. Like, the amount of love that people feel for any performer in Davis Arena does not come from a place of like a para relationship. It comes from a place of like, I see these people and I care about these people and I know these people and these people know me too. It was a really special experience to have watched Sophia from the early days of the vignettes up through this run that she's been on, up through this championship reign, or this championship title opportunity that she has, and winning this title. And I'm very excited to see what happens next.
Yeah.
I'm very, very excited to see what happens next.
It is most definitely the year of the Rose.
Who do we have lined up for Sophia Rose is probably the biggest question coming out of the pay-per-view.
Yeah, and I can't wait to find out.
And we will find out Thursday evening. I think she will be addressing the crowd.
Oh, great.
So
good for her.
I think we'll find out what's next for Sophia Rose very quickly.
Yeah.
And I have a feeling it's going to be substantial. You know?
Yeah.
I don't think that we're going to see a couple. I think we're going to launch straight back into something big. I don't think we're going to see any malaise. You know, we're not going to have a month of, unknown challengers, people that you don't recognize challenging for it, things that we would consider to be pretty chalk. I think that we're going to send Sophia back into something very, very meaty almost immediately.
I would not be surprised if J-Rod didn't come out and, express her frustration and disapproval, and rightly so, because, she had a great title run, but, in disbelief on her part, I'm sure.
One of the best title runs in our time covering this.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. But congratulations, Sophia Rose.
Yes, absolutely. Congratulations.
Take me away on our next match here.
So the fatal four-way leading up to this match was Jesse Goddard, Donovan Cecil, the veteran Jack Vaughn, or potentially the butthurt Jack Vaughn, depending on what kind of day he's having, and Cow Hero.
And do we have the...
we sure do. Here it is.
Got Jesse Goddard with trying his damnedest to hold Donovan Cecil down. Golly.
He's got that Hollywood crab.
And then Cal Hero breaks it up, goes in for the standing O, plants Jesse right on his head, and has sealed his spot at the pay-per-view to challenge Mount Kadim. Interesting stuff there. Cal Hero was not who I thought was going to end up challenging Mount Kadim.
No, as far as we were concerned, everybody in the fan zone, it was unanimous for Mammoth.
Yeah, and honestly, I kind of had the last two flip-flopped. I thought that this was going to be our title change and that J-Rod would still be women's champion.
Yeah, I kind of felt like that was how things were going to go, but no, what do we know?
And I kind of knew when it was when Cal ended up going to face Mount Kadim, that all signs are maybe pointing to Sophia winning the women's title and the heavyweight championship title and the national heavyweight championship title not changing hands, which is, of course, what we saw.
Yeah. One thing I didn't see coming is, and neither did he, poor Eric Cornish.
Yeah, do we have that?
We do. That's a little later, but let's
see our first clip then.
Okay, little corner work here.
Cal Hero's hurting in the corner. Mount Kadim goes up for a big splash. Cal's a little too quick.
Yeah, he was not home.
He's
Gromit approves.
And Cal is chopping him some forearm strikes, but we know, based on weeks and weeks and weeks of being shown it, it's very hard to get Mount Kadim off of his feet.
Yeah. Sometimes it takes a whole team of people.
I did for a little bit think, though, whenever Cal started using the standing O, I was like, yeah, that's gonna be it. That thing has been so protected and it's so brutal and so cool.
Yeah. That
if Cal had used the standing O, I think you would have had to Mount Kadim's got to go down. Like, you know what I mean? Like, but that's not what we saw here. That was not Thankfully, not what we saw, just because it would have messed with me. I love the stand and go so much, and like I just want it. I want it to be that kill shot on everybody.
Yeah.
And I think anybody that gets hit with it has to go down to it. So, let's see Kadeem throwing Cal around a little bit. So this is important to the kind of the end of the match as well. We see Cal trying to fight out of Kadeem's hold, but Kadeem runs him into the post, really, really doing a lot of damage to Cal's back, hits him in the post again, and right there
slam
onto the ground.
Yeah.
Looks like he even got a little bit of the back of his head on the corner of the ring.
Yeah, that's what I was just thinking, and oh god, that hurts.
Well, yeah, and I mean, like, that's, from speaking with Al, that's like one of his biggest no-nos. Is like I don't want people getting hurt on that part of the ring. It's not a joke. It's not just Jim Ross. Like it is legitimately the hardest part of the ring, and it is very, very dangerous, and it is just a 90-degree angle of pine wood. So I'm glad Cal, back of the head, man, get hit in the back of the head. That's
serious.
The dangerous territory.
Yeah.
But
We're going to get an update on him on this Thursday, right?
I'm sure we will. It's not very often that we don't.
Yeah.
So let's go ahead and see Eric Cornish go down.
This does not come across on TV as well as I was able to see it from almost directly behind.
Yeah.
Let's take a look at it.
Sometimes bad things happen to good guys, and this is a classic example of that, unfortunately. Wrong place, wrong time, 3, 2, boom.
Cal tries to go for a fanny pack knee, kind of a running, jumping fanny pack knee from off of the side of the ring there, and right into Eric Cornish. And that's a dangerous situation too.
Yeah. So, I mean, you got Mount Kadeem falling on you. There, it is completely inescapable. That's not Mount Kadeem. That's an avalanche at that point. Smashed completely through that chair, through the barricade. Had to be helped back to get medical attention in the back. I really hope that Eric Cornish, our friend and good guy, is feeling much better now.
You think Eric got a little Brad Bacon in him on that afternoon and said, "Kadeem, just go ahead and take me out. It'd be a good spot." I'd like to believe it was just a mistake, but in the few times that we've talked to Eric, he's always down for a fun time too. So
Well, that didn't look like fun to me. Pretty hurty.
he likes to, he loves the business.
Well, everybody does.
Um,
That's a love and a passion that we all share.
So Eric Cornish gets taken to the back. He gets medical treatment as he probably legitimately needed. Cal Hero gets slammed a couple times on the outside of the ring and gets counted out. Kind of a whimper here.
And then he gets medical attention and is escorted to the back.
Kind of a whimper here.
Yeah. I mean, it's one thing to have your opponent have to be assisted out of the ring after a win, but I didn't have Cal Hero and Eric Cornish being taken out in the same match on my March Mayhem bingo card.
Do you think that they went to the in the same ambulance to the local medical facility?
Would there be enough room for the both of them?
Yeah, you can fit 2 people in the back of an ambulance.
I've never been in the back of an ambulance.
Really?
Yeah.
Lucky you.
Yeah, lucky you.
I've seen them, but that's a whole other story altogether.
I can tell
won't
you
get into that.
some weird stories about the back of an ambulance, and one of them I wasn't even injured during, but it's not appropriate for this.
Rather than that, why don't we see the ending of the National Heavyweight Fatal 4-Way?
Please.
Tony Evans and the Tidy Whities.
You beat me to it.
Yeah, I was thinking that when I was watching this episode last week, is like, have we broken the Tidy Whitey chant?
I think there was just so many people in the crowd. He thought he could just hide in that Fatal 4-Way, and it didn't come out. I did not hear any Tidy Whities in the arena.
No.
Well, maybe we've moved on. Or maybe it was always just Joe Mack was Tidy Whitey. Maybe it was calling Joe Mack Tidy Whitey and not just anyone with white trunks. I don't know.
Either way, you're a baby.
Or Tony Evans just is impervious to it. like because people just boo him anyway. They don't really need like a chant. they just they just boo him the moment he takes a microphone. So we see Derek Surge. No, what did I just messed up his name, didn't I?
Eric.
Because I was thinking of Derek Splurge.
Derek Splurge.
From a couple weeks ago when Doug kept calling him that. Eric Surge, we see Eric Surge take home his victory in that fatal four-way, which means he is the new #1 contender for the National Heavyweight Championship, currently held by Leather Daddy Doug Basham. Doug don't like to lose. Doug hasn't lost, really.
No.
The couple times that he did, he went out of his way to make sure it could not possibly happen to him again.
Mm-hmm.
He's also, I think, having like the time of his life. This is something that we've mentioned before, but just where this character started and how utterly ridiculous it's gotten, and the Revolution as a whole following suit, I can't help but think that this is just like a ton of fun to be a part of.
Oh, yeah. I absolutely love it, man. It's a beautiful thing.
And, you know, for a long time, Doug was behind the camera. You know, he was not a force out there every week. He was not on camera. He was not cutting promos. We talked to a ton of people. Even Cash touched on this a couple days ago. Like, there's nothing worse than whenever that adrenaline stream of performing goes away.
Yeah.
And you got to wonder if Doug ever thought that he was going to be on TV this much again.
I didn't have it coming. I didn't see it coming.
I definitely didn't either.
But I'm glad it did.
Um,
It's made for some great TV over the course of since last summer.
Well, quite simply put, the Revolution would not have had as long of a run as they have had so far with anyone other than Doug Basham being at the helm of it.
Yeah.
Like that's. I also think it had to be Crixus at the beginning.
Absolutely, yeah.
But for longevity's sake, I think it had to be Doug at the National Heavyweight Championship, kind of the mastermind. I think it had to be Doug. Let's go ahead and see our first clip here of Eric Surge and Doug Basham.
Look, it's the hat.
He's got the hat. And
More dancing.
we see the dancing. Yeah, I told you, man. There was a ton of Gaga in this whole show. But, you know, you're not on television. You don't have to hit commercial breaks. You can do more Gaga during a pay-per-view. In fact, you should.
Yeah.
These things should feel different.
You want to have a dance-off in the middle of your match? Sure. Hey, you guys want to do it too? Yeah, let's do this. Come on.
Let's go ahead and see Eric Stormer really pop his own top off here. Yep. Eric Surge, yeah. I'm not going to get that right today.
Sure you will.
So something that would have taken down any other man being thrown into the corner by Doug Basham
No.
only incenses Eric Surge. Huge chop from Doug Basham. Another one doesn't faze him at all.
I love watching the look of intense anger grow on the face of Eric Surge. Grabs Leather Daddy Doug back by the britches. Big chop in the corner. Wham.
Huge chop. And let's go ahead and run right into the next clip, shall we?
Sure.
Because we've seen this one before.
I saw that and I thought, oh, you got to be kidding me.
Doug Basham going back to the well. I can see why. It worked the first time.
Yeah.
I mean, it got Al Snow out here helping him
Uh-huh.
the first time.
How,
Look at the look on Eric's face.
what do you,
Yeah.
yeah, just pure confidence. Pure
He's
confidence.
seen this before. He knows what's up. And he ain't buying it.
So how long is Doug Basham, would he have had to sit out there to make Al Snow come out this time?
We'd still be there.
watching
Yeah.
Yeah, Eric Surge, a little too smart, has seen Doug Basham try the knee trick before, goes ahead and gives a big elbow drop to Doug Basham for his troubles. It's kind of like, as we're reviewing what 2025 has been now that we're a quarter into it, Eric Surge is another guy like Sophia Rose that we were told very early on into this year to watch out for, and we've been shown a dozen times at this point that he can go.
Yeah, ever since the Nightmare Rumble, he's been on a meteoric rise.
loved seeing him in this opportunity against Doug, main event.
Yeah.
Doug's got that title. Back to chalk, back to, why do we have to have the happy moment with Sophia Rose? It's because the national championship and the heavyweight championship, from a storyline perspective, could not go anywhere right now. Should not go anywhere right now. Let's go ahead and see what we have to. Let's go ahead and see the belt shot here with SK. The referee.
I want to get a better good shot at this. Power slam.
Yeah, Doug should have known a little bit better than that. Go on a full.
Oh,
and that was brutal.
Yeah, that was the real deal, man. He, after the match, he had like blood all over his shirt, and he was all taped up, and that looked gnarly. It really looked bad.
Yeah, that was. I don't think that was intentional.
I wouldn't imagine that he's that good at tossing a belt in the ring like that, but he got every bit of that.
Yeah, that was really in things that seem so benign over the course of this evening. We really did see like some stuff that was just like ooh, like
yeah.
And that kind of even being chief amongst them, even more so than like Cal bumping his head on the back, bumping the back of his head on the ring apron, because you can't hurt the referee, man.
No, that's a $20,000 fine. Everybody knows that.
Let's see that one more time. That was brutal, dog. I also am from that era of the internet where people getting hurt accidentally is very entertaining to me.
Big slam.
And Shannon, the dude, just throwing potatoes.
Oh. You gotta love that angle too.
Oh, they did this. Back to the production side of
That
things.
seems like a 1 in a million shot to clock him square on like that and draw blood. Good God!
Back to the
cut him
production
wide open.
side
You
of
can see
things.
the blood on the mat.
Yeah, that's blood, brother. That ain't permanent marker. SK, good for you, man. That's brutal. I don't know if I could have done that. Would have been crying.
He may have been. We don't know.
So the referee is incapacitated.
Mm-hmm. Replacement referee.
And then we started the revolution with Crixus, as I mentioned earlier. Let's see the clip, please. Crixus coming back looking like a total hoss. New Titantron, new music.
Freshly shaven.
So you're thinking, oh, we haven't seen him in a few months. Kind of gets tossed aside by the Revolution after he's gotten injured. You're thinking, with new Titantron, new gear, new music, you're coming out looking like this. You've got to be going after Doug, right? No, that's not what happens.
Although it was just long enough to make you wonder.
Definitely. One of the biggest returns, one of the biggest surprises that in the time that we've been covering OVW, because people were convinced that he was not even on the continent on Saturday night.
Yeah, and that was his doing.
Yeah, 100%. Crixus is a worker.
Yeah.
Big time.
And he's already back in the fan zone talking in the Facebook group.
I love to see it, man.
Yeah,
glad to have you
see
back,
it.
Crix.
And there's that moment where you're saying, oh, he's got to be coming after Doug. That's not the case.
Mm-mm.
He gives Eric Surge a Glasgow kiss, and
Doug Basham retains the
Doug
title.
Basham retains. Yeah. Glasgow kiss is a great name and a brutal move for a headbutt.
Yeah.
Doug Basham retains. So kind of not a surprise. Let's look back at the evening. I don't think that the main event was a surprise. I don't think the heavyweight championship was a surprise. Loud and Lawless was a welcome surprise, but we were in extenuating circumstances.
Yeah.
That said, I wouldn't have been at all surprised if AJZ and Leo picked it up.
No, I wouldn't have either. But I like Loud and Lawless better booking wise. The biggest question, because this was a night on the championship side of things that really wasn't full of a lot of surprises. The biggest question here is, what's next for Sophia Rose, and is Crixus here to stay?
I guess we will find out the answers to both of those tomorrow night at Davis Arena.
We shall. Man, we've just put in some work, and we've got more work to do for everyone here at the OVW podcast. For Malachi Woodard, our producer, for Tiny Brian K. Woodard, our executive producer, for Victor Anderson, our senior producer. Hope you're feeling well, buddy. And for...
I'm your Huckleberry. I'm Brian Hines.
And myself, Jack Minogues. Thank you guys so much for listening. Thanks for watching. Love ya.